Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Sangoma Reseller quarterly webinar. This is Tom Uhteg with the company VoIP Supply, and we're going to be going through today some of the different offerings of Sangoma. Before we get into that, I will kind of give you just a brief once-over of VoIP Supply and our offerings here that we can offer you. And during the webinar, if you do have any questions, please utilize the chat feature. At the end, we will address any questions or issues that you may have. So some of the benefits here for resellers with VoIP Supply is our VoIP rental program, our hardware and provisioning, our cloud spam marketplace gives you access to different providers that we're directly aligned with that you can become an agent for, collect residuals month over month, to help you make a few extra dollars. Also our fulfillment side and our refresh and reclaim. The refresh and reclaim is our spin on refurbished product. We only have a stock product and it comes with a full 1-year warranty through VoIP Supply. It goes through a 10-step process, resetting, updating all the firmwares, new cords, cables, and all such things are included. Just a good way to save some money and still get your customers a great product. So the reseller advantage, just to be competitive in this marketplace in this day and age, it's all about your partners and who you can leverage. VoIP Supply has been around since the inception of VoIP back in around the early 2000s, 2002. And we're directly aligned with Broad Voice, Digium, Talinta, Sangoma, who is our parent company. So we're positioned very well in the market to not only assist you on our side, but get you direct support and contact with the major, most reputable manufacturers and providers in the industry. To sign up to be a Sangoma reseller, it's really easy. You just go to our website here, www.voipsupply.com/Sangoma-partner. Fill out a short form, and we'll get you signed up. Mark Carson, who's here with me, actually approves those and gets those done. So we're always aware when new partners are coming through, and we very much welcome you to do that and hope that you will. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark Carson from Sangoma, who's sitting here with me, and he's going to go through some SIP station, fax station, and the agent versus reseller model.
Wow, great. Well, thanks, Tom. Appreciate that. Nice intro. Thanks, everybody, for joining today. I know that it's tough to take time out of your busy days to sit down and watch these kind of things, so we really appreciate that you joined us, and we hope some of this will be informative and useful for you. We certainly all want you all to be members of our reseller channel. If you're already members, excellent. If you're still thinking about it, this might give you another reason why you want to go that route. So we're expecting that we'll get more people to join up just from watching some of this because of the fact that you make some money off of it. And again, the only reason that we all do this is because of the money. We don't do it anymore because we want to be heroes in the marketplace or anything. It just makes more sense. So SIP Station, we've had this product for probably about 6 or 7 years now. It's basically SIP trunking. You all do it. You probably sell it either from us or from other people. But basically the reason that you want to sell it from us, I think, is because, number one, we pay a very competitive monthly stipend back to our partners. And it's very easy to integrate into free PBX and PBExact. So in other words, when you go to set the thing up, you don't have to your tech doesn't have to horse around for 2.5 hours getting the SIP registrations to register. Typically, you click on it, you insert the key that comes with it into your free PBX or PBExact system, and it configures everything for you, incoming routes, outgoing routes, dialing plan, the whole shot. So again, time is money, and this just makes it better and better for you to increase your capabilities with your customers, as well as make additional monies, revenues, and profit for your organizations. So as you can see here, There is a 21-day free trial. A lot of customers go that route. You have to have a free PBX or a PBExact to do the free trial. You can't do it on other systems. But interestingly, you can purchase SIP station trunking and put it on other products such as 3CX or any of those other SIP-based products that are out there. And as well, of course, the Digium SwitchVox product line. I believe that in the next release of SwitchVox, there's going to be the simplistic setup and installation capability, and I'm sure, no doubt, 21-day free trials there as well. But that's coming down the pike from the engineering folks at the Digium group. So it should be pretty exciting to add that to the your bag of tricks. So as you can see, we have a month-to-month price on it. We have a 12-month price, basically a one-year contract, and we have a 3-year contract. The 3-year contract prices are they're very competitive with the rest of the marketplace. They come with 3,000 minutes of talk time per trunk. So if you do the math on that, it works out to less than a penny a minute for those telephone calls. So that definitely makes us very competitive with the folks that are out there. Okay. So, excuse me. So, when you get SIP trunking from SipStation, you can call anywhere in the U.S. and Canada for the same price. It doesn't matter if you're calling across the street or across the country or up into Canada. It's good for all of Canada and the lower 48 states. Hawaii and Alaska are considered international calls, so they're billed that way, a little bit more expensive. The system also allows you to use T38 faxing, although a lot of people don't like to do faxing over SIP trunks because sometimes there are issues, and in fact, usually there are more issues than there aren't. That's why we have the fax station product we're going to be talking about in a moment. And we also offer SMS messaging. So the SMS messaging works with free PBX and PBExact. It does not work with our competitors' systems when you use SipStation, so it's only available on our products. And we give you a couple of applications that you can use it with, one being User Control Panel, which is free, included with all free PBXs and all PBExact systems, and the Zulu client, which is available for free with PBExact, but is a purchasable add-on to free PBX. So another feature of the system that I really like is the fact that it has a built-in failover. So each DID number that you associate with your SIP trunks can have a failover number, and it could be different for each DID. So it could, if all your employees have a DID number or your customers' employees, they can put in their cell phone number as a failover in the event that the company loses their internet connection or their PBX system goes down. So it always keeps you connected. You're always getting calls no matter what, and it definitely is a very useful feature and very easy to set up. We offer porting services. About 99% of the numbers out there can be ported into our system. There are a few small rural CLECs where porting is an issue, but if you don't play in those markets, you don't have to really worry about it. All the management of your customers' accounts are online. So the porting is online. It has a very simple form to fill out. You don't have to, fax over or email them a letter of authorization that they have to sign and, scan and re-email back to you that you have to submit. All that stuff is done. It's an automated feature now right in SipStation, so very easy to do. The free trials, again, are available in the PBX GUIs of both systems, free PBX and PBExact. So as I said, there's 3 different monthly plans, the $24.99, which I like to call $25 because it just gets to be too complicated with all these 99 cents. $22.99 for a 1-year contract, and month-to-month being $24.99. Again, you can trial these, configure them, manage them from free PBX. And then we also offer a feature called concurrency bursting. What concurrency bursting is that if you put in a customer with, say, 3 SIP trunks, 3 SipStation trunks, they can get 3 simultaneous calls in, just like lines used to be in the bad old days of telecom. With concurrency bursting, we will allow the 4th call and the 5th call and the 6th call to come in and or go out. but they do get charged a metered rate of 1.5 cents per minute for those calls. And again, I don't know if any of you folks are Canadian resellers or partners here of VoIP Supply, but all these prices that we're quoting are in U.S. dollars. So if you do use this capability up in Canada, it's obviously there's an exchange rate that your customer has to pay attention to. So now we're going to touch on Fax Station. And Fax Station is kind of a offshoot of SIP Station. So when you go to order Fax Station, you actually do it right on the SIP Station page. And if you're using some of our hosted capabilities, the PBExact Cloud, you can also order it on the PBExact ordering page. So basically what Fax Station does is it gives a methodology to keep using fax machines. I'm not sure what kind of customers use them. It seems like realtors, medical profession, and attorneys seem to be the biggest users of faxes, but I still get a lot of people who are doing faxing. I personally don't use faxing very often, but evidently a lot of people still do. And one of the biggest problems with faxing is that if you try to use SIP trunks with it, faxing is a very old technology. It came from, I believe, the 50s, and it does not have error correction. So what happens is if you try to fax on a SIP trunk with a regular fax machine, what will happen is it'll send, part of the fax, and if there's one little blip in the VoIP connection, the fax crashes out, and the fax machine has to start all over again and do the whole fax. So if it's a 20-page fax, it can be pretty frustrating. So that's one of the main reasons that we came up with this methodology. So there is high volume faxing, which is basically 3,000 pages a month, incoming or outgoing. The month-to-month on that is $24.99. But if the customer is a SIP Station customer on a 1-year or a 3-year contract, that pricing will go down to the same pricing as the SIP Station trunks do, so $22.99 and $19.99. We have a low volume faxing, which is actually referred to in the order page as 150 pages a month, and that is $9.95, and that's for the real low volume users, people that still have a fax machine because occasionally a customer wants to fax them something. So we have it for them as well at a very reduced price. We offer an optional analog gateway if they still want to use their old-fashioned fax machine. Now that gateway, here on this slide it says it's $190. I believe the price has been dropped to $150. What that box is basically is an intelligent analog device. So when you put a piece of a document in your fax machine and dial up the person's fax number, it faxes it to the box. The box collects it, turns it into an encrypted file, and sends it to our data center. We've actually got some graphics here that show that. So you can also utilize this without a regular fax machine as an eFax type of configuration. You can log into a URL that you get that's unique to your account, and your incoming faxes are there, and you can fax from that page. And you can give all of your employees access to it, or just have one person in the office have access to it, however you guys want to set it up, however your customer wants to set it up. And then your incoming faxes can also be received as attachments to an email. So what some people do is they'll set up an email address with several users in it, like a distribution group, and they'll send the incoming faxes to that, so it pops into three or four or five people's inboxes at the same time. So a lot of flexibility here, whatever you need to do. Obviously, it's designed to reuse your existing fax machines. Who would want to go out and buy a new one in this day and age, right? Of course, I guess they're kind of integrated into a lot of printers, but it lets you manage your faxes on the web, low-cost monthly service, and it's great for low bandwidth scenarios. And we actually have a graphic that shows that as well. So here's basically how it works with a regular fax machine. As I mentioned, the fax plugs into the fax device. The fax device is intelligent. It collects it. It turns it into an SSL encrypted transfer, sends that to our data center, and our data center puts it in the fax server that we have there and sends it out on a PRI line directly to your customer's phone number for their fax machine. So by doing this, you don't have any of those issues with the error correction situation with old fax machines. And I know T38 is supposed to fix that, but any of us who have tried it, we all know that at times it still doesn't work. So this is a graphic to kind of give you an idea, because there are a lot of users out there that don't have a good internet connection that's on fiber or even on coax or DSL, and they have to use satellites. So that can be a real challenge for trying to do faxing over SIP trunks. So basically it's the same methodology, faxes into the little box creates the encrypted file, and however slow that data network is over that satellite modem, it's going to go out, up to the satellite, down, come in, and eventually back to the network, internet, to us, and out the PSTN. So it's really quite good for those people on the SATCOM type marketplaces. And there are still quite a few of them, certainly out in the the heartland of the United States, shall we say. Here on the East Coast, typically everyone seems to have fiber these days, or if they don't, they're getting it. So we have a couple of models here for you to sell these products to your customers. We have the reseller model, and we have the agent model. And I'm actually going to talk about the agent one first. That's the one that typically most people sign up for when they first start selling these products. What you basically do is you sign up as a Sangoma reseller through VoIP Supply's webpage. Tom mentioned the URL for. And we bring you on as a reseller. And we create a page for you, a landing page for you to sell these services. So when you sell these services off the landing page, your customer will be putting their credit card number into it. So the billing goes directly to the customer, and then we take the payment from them every month off their credit card, and every month you get a commission check. And if you're a bronze reseller, it's a 20% commission check for each one of these people that you sign up for SIP station, fax station, or PB Exact Cloud. And if you're a silver reseller, it goes up to 25%. And the cost, or rather the quota to hit silver reseller, is actually quite low. A very low number. I think probably every one of you on the phone here could probably easily hit it. What we do to create you as a silver reseller is we look at all your sales with us, and that's everything. That's telephones, appliances, software, services, professional services, any of that stuff, plus all of this monthly recurring stuff. So we add all that up to come up with your annual number, and it's not that hard of a bridge to get up to silver and start collecting that 25% residual. Now the other way, and this is usually resellers who are already selling lots of these SIP type services, will come on and use the reseller purchase method. And basically the way this works is you sell it to the customer. You actually sign them up, but you don't actually put their information, basically their credit card, into the system. You put your credit card in to the account. You create it, and we sell it to you at that 20% or 25% discount rate. So, for example, if the item was a $10 per month opportunity, just for the sake of easy numbers, you would be charged $8 for it. If you sold it as an agent, your customer would be charged $10 and you would get a $2 commission. So it actually basically gives you your commission up front is really how it works. And then you can choose how much you want to charge the customer for the service. So if you decide you want to charge them $28.95 a month, have at it. You can do whatever your customer is willing to pay. So it works out well. You are responsible for appropriate regulatory collections if you boost the price beyond what we charge you for it. So make sure you keep that in mind, and you can discuss that with either the folks over here at VoIP Supply or with your account manager at Sangoma once you've become a Sangoma reseller. So this is the page that we use, or you can use, to create your landing page if you want to go with the agent type methodology that we discussed. So basically it lets you set up your own URL to sell these services to the customer. And after you've filled out this page, and usually Most of my resellers come to me and I set it up for them so that they don't have to figure out how to do another thing because they're busy doing other stuff, and I'm certainly happy to do that. You basically just send me your logo, and I'll set up the page for you and send you an email with your links. But if you'll notice there in the yellow part, it's basically the same link. It's sipstation.com, and then there's a / with your agent information. In this case, it's VoIP Supply, who, by the way, is an agent for us as well, interestingly, even though they're a sister company. And they move a lot of this product every month, too, so we're all selling a lot of this stuff. This is where you guys want to go. This is the future. The monthly recurring model is the way to go. 5 years from now, you're all going to be drinking champagne down in the Bahamas, unless they had a hurricane, and being happy that you went and started selling this stuff. So that's basically the gist of it, and we were able to get through that one rather quickly, which is kind of nice. I guess I kind of long-winded it, but we definitely appreciate all your attention to this and hope you decide to move forward with this. And I think we have some questions.
Yes, we definitely have some questions here, Mark. So David asks, any plans to do TLS encryption on SIP trunks?
That's a good question, and we actually do have in the plans a enhanced SIP trunk. It was supposed to be out already, but it kind of got backburnered after the acquisition of Digium. All of our people were kind of busy trying to integrate these two companies together, and we're actually still in the process of doing that. So that's kind of been backburnered. I do not have a time date on it, but it should be somewhere soon, and I know that there are some customers looking for that. Honestly, it's the minority of customers that are looking for it. There will be an additional cost for these on a monthly basis with the encryption, but we're not sure what that pricing will be yet. So.
Another one here, Mark, is do SipStation SIP trunks support voice and video environments?
Well, they do. We don't actually offer, Sangoma doesn't offer any video type solutions, and any kind of video that we do through our stuff is really peer-to-peer pass-through. So we don't do like video conferencing with it, but there certainly are third-party devices that you can get from VoIP Supply that will, in fact, give you the capability of doing not just peer-to-peer, but also video conferencing. And yes, they can all run through SIP trunks, and our SIP trunks, SipStation trunks, as well as your PBXact and free PBX systems. So. Yes.
And I had another one here. Are SIP trunks as secure as T1 lines to outside intrusion attacks?
That's a good question. Obviously, the TLS encryption would improve that greatly, but the answer is that all the hacking that ever occurs on any of our stuff, and believe me, when somebody gets hacked, we find out about it because they're running up typically long-distance bills or something along those lines off to international calls, the countries that have really high-priced long-distance charges, or even there's a couple of areas here in the U.S. where they still run that 900 number type service where when you call that phone number, it's like $2 a minute to be connected, and these are like little small CLECs that do this stuff. All that kind of hacking that typically occurs because the phone system, the PBXact or the free PBX system, was hacked, and they were able to register a phone to it and start making telephone calls. So it's typically not the SipStation that's the issue, because the SipStation is only going to allow one external IP address to register to that account, first of all. And second of all, if it's registered somewhere else can't register it, even with any kind of IP spoofing. Plus, because we use a special key on free PBX and PBXact, that's all tied into it as well for security purposes. So the answer is, when our customers get hacked, it's because their phone system is using very weak passwords. You'd be amazed at how many people have the GUI of their phone system still admin as their logins, and their phone's using a password of 1234556. or 987-654. It just amazes me that in this day and age that people don't do everything they can to use the most difficult passwords to break. But as long as you keep your system safe, you're typically good. And if your customer is super concerned about security, you can add a session border controller, which adds another layer of security to your configuration.
That's a great point, Mark, and I think for anybody that would be concerned about that, the only time I've ever heard of a phone system being hacked was usually due to not even the PBX and password sensitivity. It was more due to the fact that there, weren't proper security measures in between the PBX and the network, such as firewalls or SBC for additional protection there. So that's basically what's going to help you to keep any attacks from occurring in your scenarios. So I have one more question here, Mark. Do you feel that 911 services and faxing have made it tougher for many companies to fully adopt or transition to a full-on VoIP system?
Well, that's a good question. And the truth is that with regard to 911 services, that used to be the case. We always used to recommend that everybody keep a POTS line in so that they, if anybody dials 911, it goes out the POTS line so that the correct number shows up. But we now have facilitated a methodology in VoIP, and it's not just us, it's everybody who's in the industry, where we offer E911 services. So each one of your accounts, the first thing we make you do before you can even program it to do any kind of call forwarding or overflow or any of that stuff, we make you put in the 911 address. So you get one free 911 address with each SIP station account, and you can add additional ones, and I think they're like $1.65 a month each. So if you've got remote workers and you want to have 911 addresses for them, you can set all that up, and the system takes care of it for you. With regard to faxing, again, Fax Station fixes the need or the concern about using SIP trunks for faxing.
And I got another question here. Is there any wholesale version of Fax Station like Vitality? This way faxes for multiple customers can be managed and maintained from one screen and no need for a free PBX.
Well, you don't need free PBX for Fax Station, first of all. Fax Station has its own URL that you log into. As far as you as a reseller, you can set up the account as your account and add locations. You can add a separate location for each one of your fax customers or your SIP station customers. And in fact, that's what you have to do anyways if you're going to do the wholesale model. So the answer is there a way to do it? Yep, we've got it set up for you. It's ready to roll. So I would, if I were all of you, I'd get online right now and sign up for the program. That was a shameless sales pitch, by the way.
That sounds like a great idea, Mark. I think I might even sign up.
All right, good deal. I like to hear that.
Well, it doesn't look like there's any more questions. If you want to ping one in right now, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Or feel free to call Tom. It's 5 minutes after we hang up here when a question does pop into your head.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if we had my contact info here.
There it is.
Go. So that is the contact information for myself and our lovely Mark Carson. And if you have any questions after the webinar, as Mark said, feel free to reach out to us anytime. If you have an existing rep here, of course, you can reach out to them directly. If you can't remember if you have a rep, feel free to call me. I can look them up and get you in touch with the appropriate people. So with that, I thank you very much for joining us today, and I hope you found this as a good way to spend your time this morning. And I thank Mark for assisting us with this.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tom, and thanks everybody for joining.